In this video, we're installing a Cheapo Powerpack and we're fine-tuning the motor parameters for a new locomotive.
Hello and welcome to another video tutorial with Märklin of Sweden. Well, there has been a number of great stuff happening since the last video. One of them is that I've now more than 150 of you kind viewers who become patrons, and therefore I will, or just because I can, because you're supporting me, I can switch off the commercial breaks in all of the videos. So there will be a the traditional YouTube pre-roll with commercials, but then I will make sure that there are no breaks in the videos, because I think, when I'm watching videos on YouTube, which I do regularly, I think it's super annoying in tutorials to, have those breaks, because you want to skip through. How did he do that? What colors? I say, oh no, commercial break. And then say, oh no, commercial break. So thanks to you and your support, no more commercial breaks in new videos. I have not yet figured out the impact, because it can have other impact than just less income. Actually, Google or YouTube can favorize videos with more ads in them. I don't know, so we'll have to wait about this. But all of the coming videos, the new videos, including this one, will not have any commercial breaks. So that's new, thanks to you patrons who are supporting the channel, and also you guys who are giving a donation now and then through PayPal. That's one of the very good things. The other very good thing is that my annual ordered locomotive have arrived. Yeah, I order typically one new locomotive per year. I know that, are you buying more? And I said, no, I cannot afford more. But on the other hand, there's something to look forward to every year. So now it has arrived. So I made a video here now on what I do, my process in setting a locomotive up. Including installing a Cheapo Powerpack, which a lot of people ask me, wow, that's great, the Powerpacks are so expensive, wow, how do you do it? And it's really easy, really. So I explain that as well. Well, hey, let's get started.
Unboxing a new locomotive is always a bit of a highlight. New locomotives typically comes with a goodie bag with some extra stuff you can fit if your layout, the curves of your layout allows it, of course, plus an extra coupling. So let's take this locomotive from the package. So this is a German steamer class 44. It was mainly used for heavy goods traffic. The prototype was built between 1926 and 49. I personally like to have a steam generator inside my steamers, so they give that a nice stream of steam when they're running along the tracks. This is what it looks like. It's just easily inserted into the chimney of the steamer like this. Push it all the way into the bottom contact. Then I just put a locomotive on the tracks and switch the power on. Since this is the MFX type DCC protocol, it signs in automatically and also tells the command station what function it has built in. So I just click the MFX button and here are all of the functions. So I switch the light on and light goes on, so it seems to be working. And the horn, of course. Yeah, very nice sound in this one. I personally think though that the sound is a bit too loud if you're having multiple locomotives running at the same time, so I will lower the sound levels. Another thing which quite quickly became apparent is that it does not have a built-in power pack, so we will mount that. I didn't like also how the locomotive brakes. It's a bit too quick, and same with acceleration, it's a bit too fast. So to adjust this, I put it on the programming track. switch the power on, and then I click on the wrench tool and then access the CV values. That will give you a warning. Are you aware of what you're doing? Yes, I am. So we're going to the motor settings. Here's the acceleration delay. It has a current value of 25, and that tells me it's way too low. I typically have values around 100. Let's start at 85. There is a table down here showing how the acceleration will look like. And it's currently on linear. We will go to standard exponential instead to have a softer acceleration. I download the settings into the decoder and then I put it off the track. It's time to make that Powerpack. Making a Powerpack like this is kind of simple. It's just 3 cheap components. However, it requires us to remove the decoder from the motherboard first, and then I use a ESD guard wrist strap, which prevents me from damaging the decoder with ESD electrostatic discharge. Now, this guide is valid for ESU and Märklin decoders, which has the NEM 660 21-pole decoder connector. So we're going to connect the minus to the Powerpack from pin 20 and the plus from pin 16. The cable I'm using for this is 0.05 square millimeter. It has a total diameter including the isolation of 0.5 millimeter. And I solder this directly to the connector. I secure the cables using a small piece of electrically isolated plastic tape. The available room in locomotives for Powerpack varies a lot. In this tender here I could fit 2 470 microfarad capacitors, which together gives me about 1000 microfarad. This will allow me to have the wheels running for a quarter of a second with sound and lights on. So I solder them in parallel, plus to plus and minus to minus, like this. And then all I need to do is to also solder a 100 ohm resistor in parallel with a diode. This is a silicon diode type 1N4007. The circuit diagram for these 3 components, or actually 4, since there were 2 capacitors in parallel in this Powerpack, looks like this. The function of this Powerpack is that the capacitors here, the 2 470 microfarad, act as batteries. The charging of the batteries is made over this 100 ohm resistor, whilst the discharging when the track power goes away is made over the diode. The diode namely only leads current in one direction. So that's a very simple circuit, but it will anyway be sufficient to prevent sound drop off and flickering headlights, and that locomotive is stopping at small dirt spots on the rail. I also added in a small chart which tells you what kind of extra power length in seconds you get from different capacitor values. And my experience is that it's really no use of assembling Powerpacks with less capacitor value than 1000 microfarad. That will not do the trick. A good value is 2000 microfarad, but it's not always possible to fit that much capacitors into locomotives, especially not the smaller ones. So that is what you have to work with. Coming back to the assembly, we're soldering the charge and discharge network to the capacitors, and then we just connect the cable which goes to the decoder motherboard like this. Then make proper isolation using a piece of plastic tape like this. Alright, so now it's just to put it inside there and close the tender. Let's put it on the tracks and see how it works. Yeah, it works. Let's check in slow motion. Lift, and you see it keeps rotating for another quarter second, which is enough to maintain sound, lights, and to bring it over any dirt on the track. So that works for me in most cases. With a Powerpack installed, next item is to weather the locomotive. I did a tutorial some year back on how to weather this type of steamers. It was a BR50, but they're kind of similar. So I used the same procedure, the weathering routine, also for my BR44. I'm putting up a link to this tutorial on how to weather the steamers in this class. So if you're interested, please have a look at that weathering tutorial. Besides from weathering, I also added a driver. Yeah, look at that. Very nice. I'm really happy with this locomotive. Now, next item for me is to take a photo of the actual locomotive. I think it's so much nicer to have the locomotive icon made from a photo of the actual locomotive than just a photo from the catalog. Now, as you might know or not, I'm not running the locomotives with my central station, but with Rockrail. So I'm checking the address here. It's address 25. And I create a new locomotive and I name it BR44, number 1374. I increase the maintenance interval to 8 hours. After that, I need to clean the wheels, and I also enter the date of purchase as well as catalog number. Now let's download that photo we took. Here it is. That allows me to directly separate the different BR44 from each other just by looking at the photos. Then I make some basic selections here for this locomotive, how it should behave in the different parts of the layout. It's not a diesel, it's a steam engine, and it's era 3. I think we'll stay with that for now. Another thing I do is I typically also write the functions here. So lyse is light in Swedish, and rök is smoke. By doing this, I get the text for the function instead of function numbers, which is more or less incomprehensible. Yeah. All right, so we're ready for the first journey of automatic operation for this new locomotive. This is so great. Now the purpose with purchasing this BR44 is to replace the BR44 I have. Since I bought that in 2001, it was a Delta analog locomotive which has been upgraded twice with new motors and new decoders. It has run an excess of 847 real hours on my layout. And here it comes. So we have a formal handover of the coal cargo. So the 2001 edition of this locomotive leaves. And the new one takes over that set of coal. I love this new drivetrain inside this locomotive. It's so much more smooth and realistic in its appearance. Yeah, really nice.
Alright, so that's how I do it when I get a new locomotive in. You know, getting into the system and installing this Cheapo Powerpack. Now, of course, you understand that, you know, disassembling a new locomotive and soldering onto the boards and doing all that will definitely void any guarantee you have on your product. I hope you fully understand that, and also that, you know, if you now are trying this and do not succeed very well and your stuff breaks down, it's entirely up to you. This is just something I've shown I've been doing and very successful. I haven't there hasn't been any problem for me. If it was, I would never have presented it. So I just wanted to say that. Disclaimer. Yeah. If you have other questions about the materials, methods, components used in this video, please post them in the comment field below and I'll try to respond to that as soon as possible. Please help others to find this video by giving it a thumbs up and support the channel. And maybe we can also turn off the commercials ahead of the video. I don't know. Maybe that's something everyone would like. Then that's definitely something we should strive towards. Or whatever you want to see in terms of development for this channel. Join Patreon. Become a patron and support the channel on a monthly basis. Or make a one-off donation using the PayPal dialog found in the video description below. And don't forget to subscribe. Enable the little bell and you will get notification once next video gets published. Until that happens, see you.